The enigmatic Nazca Lines, celestial calendars, or alien runways. Beneath the blazing sun of southern Peru, where the desert seems endless and the wind carries whispers of forgotten ages, lies one of humanity's most puzzling creations, Nazca Lines. Massive geoglyphs, etched into the arid earth, visible only from the sky, stretching 4 kilometers across a barren plain. To the untrained eye, they appear random. To archaeologists, they represent an unsolved riddle, and to dreamers, they might be a message left for the stars. More than 2,000 years ago, long before satellites, airplanes, or drones, an ancient people known as the Nazca inhabited this harsh and unforgiving landscape. They built irrigation systems to coax life from dry soil, grew maize and cotton, and revered gods linked to water and fertility, the forces that sustained their fragile existence. Yet, in the midst of their practical lives, they created something astonishing. Hundreds of gigantic drawings of animals, plants, geometric shapes, and lines stretching to the horizon. Imagine the scene. A group of artisans standing in the vast desert, using simple tools of wood and rope. One gives a signal, and they begin to scrape away the dark iron-rich stones covering the desert's surface, exposing the pale clay beneath. Slowly, a line appears, precise and straight. Days later, it connects with another, forming the outline of a hummingbird so large it can only be fully seen from the heavens. But why? For centuries, that question has haunted historians and explorers alike. The Nazca left no written records, only these immense artworks, etched into the land as though to speak directly to eternity. Were they ritual pathways, astronomical calendars, or something even more mysterious? Centuries passed. The desert winds buried the Nazca civilization in silence. Then, in the early 20th century, new eyes would rediscover their work. As aircraft began flying over southern Peru in the 19th, pilots were astonished to see strange figures stretching across the desert floor. Monkeys, spiders, fish, even what looked like an enormous astronaut waving from the earth. The world's fascination was ignited. At first, few believed such colossal drawings could have been made by pre-Columbian peoples without aerial assistance. Early theories leaned toward fantasy. Some speculated they were ancient runways for alien spacecraft, citing the eerie precision of the lines. Others imagined secret messages to sky gods. But as archaeology matured, scientists began to uncover evidence that suggested a far more human and, no less The Nazca, it turned out, were masters of geometry. Wooden stakes discovered at key points of the lines revealed how they mapped their vast designs using a simple but ingenious grid system, like ancient surveyors, working with nothing but twine and intuition. Radiocarbon dating placed the geoglyphs between 500 BCE and 500 CE, aligning them with a civilization that flourished long before the rise of the Inca Empire. Yet the purpose still eluded research. Some of the lines run perfectly straight for kilometers, pointing toward distant mountains or water sources. Others form trapezoids and spirals. The animal figures, called biomorphs, include a 300-foot monkey with a coiled tail, a hummingbird with wings spread wide, and a massive spider that seems to crawl across the earth. Could these be part of an ancient astronomical map? In the 1940s, a German mathematician named Maria Reich devoted her life to the mystery. Living alone in a small hut near the desert, she spent decades measuring, mapping, and protecting the geoglyphs. Reich believed the lines were a giant celestial calendar, designed to mark the solstices, equinoxes, and the rising and setting of important stars. Her meticulous calculations revealed alignments between certain figures and astronomical events. The hummingbird, for example, aligns with the sunrise at the June solstice. The spider, she suggested, might represent the constellation Orion. Her theory was elegant and grounded in observation, yet not all scholars agreed. Some saw the lines as ritual pathways, where the Nazca people walked in processions to honor their gods. Others proposed they were offerings to deities controlling water, vital in such a dry land. The desert's surface shows evidence of ceremonial activity: broken pottery, wooden posts, and traces of altars. Recent research has added new dimensions to the puzzle, using satellite imagery and drones. Archaeologists have discovered previously unseen geoglyphs smaller and older than those known before. Some depict warriors and strange humanoid figures, predating the larger designs by centuries. These findings suggest the Nazca Lines were part of a long cultural evolution, blending religion, art, and environmental adaptation. The mystery deepens when we consider how well these lines have survived. The Nazca Desert receives almost no rain, and its stable climate has preserved the shallow trenches for over 1,500 years. Ironically, human curiosity now poses the greatest threat. Tourists, vehicles, and modern infrastructure have damaged portions of the site. UNESCO declared it a World Heritage Site in 1994, recognizing its unmatched historical value and its fragility. But beyond preservation lies a deeper philosophical question. What did the Nazca hope to communicate? Some researchers point to shamanic traditions, suggesting that during trance rituals, priests envisioned themselves as soaring above the earth, able to see the full designs from a spiritual vantage. Others connect the shapes to constellations, rainfall cycles, and mythological creatures tied to fertility and rebirth. Then there are the more speculative interpretations, those who see the lines as evidence of extraterrestrial contact. Writers like Erich von Däniken popularized the idea that ancient astronauts guided early humans, leaving behind the Nazca Lines as markers or landing guides. While mainstream archaeology rejects this notion for lack of evidence, the theory persists in popular imagination, fueled by the sheer scale and precision of the geoglyphs. After all, what kind of civilization creates art meant to be seen only from the sky? As the decades pass, technology continues to unveil new clues. High-resolution satellite mapping and 3D scanning have revealed patterns invisible from the ground. Some lines form networks linking ceremonial centers, water sources, and ancient settlements. Environmental scientists now think the geoglyphs may have served as prayers for rain, drawn during times of drought to appeal to divine powers. In one particularly striking discovery, researchers found evidence that some lines point toward ancient aquifers underground water channels known as buki. The Nazca engineered these spiraling wells to draw water from deep beneath the desert. Could the lines have functioned as both spiritual and practical markers, guiding their people toward life-giving water? Every new revelation adds nuance rather than closure. The Nazca Lines are a mirror reflecting our own curiosities. Generation sees what it most wants to find: science, faith, or mystery. As we fly over them today, the figures remain silent but commanding. The hummingbird, symbol of vitality and transformation, spreads its wings eternally across the desert. The monkey curls its tail toward the horizon. The spider, precise in form, lies etched between worlds, part art, part message, part enigma. What did the Nazca people think as they carved these shapes into the earth? Perhaps they believed that their gods watched from above, and that these vast symbols were offerings visible only to divine eyes. Perhaps they saw themselves as participants in a grand cosmic dialogue, their lines tracing connections between heaven and earth. Or perhaps, like us, they sought meaning in the patterns of nature's stars. Rivers wind and translated that wonder into geometry. Even today, despite advanced imaging and scientific study, the Nazca Lines refuse to surrender their final secret. They remind us that not all knowledge can be neatly categorized. Some truths live in the space between myth and mathematics, and maybe that's why they still capture us. The Nazca Lines stand as a testament to human imagination, ambition, and the eternal desire to reach beyond our limits to communicate not just with one another, but with the cosmos itself. Across time and technology, we are still trying to read their message. But perhaps the message is simple: that humanity has always looked to the skies for answers, and in doing so, has etched its spirit upon the earth.